I am recording my first Gothic draft ever. It's gonna be really great. So um, I'm just gonna jump right into it. I guess I'll say at the very beginning that I'm delaying the other series that I'm doing for a little bit. I was doing a series on my limited championship at SCGCon Las Vegas. I just saw like all of the videos coming out at the same time, and the last video I made in that series came out the day that Gothic came out. So people are obviously more interested in that stuff. So I just delayed that series for a little bit. But the next video in that series is going to be the top 8 draft at SCGCon Las Vegas, and there's going to be some rounds to play after that. So you can look forward to that series finishing up. But I wanted to give the people what they really wanted, which is some Gothic content. So this is the very first online draft that we ever did. I think we had like 10 or 11 people drafting. So we split into 2 pods. So I'm in a pot of 5. I first picked the Earl of the Ivory Tower. That was a really interesting card. First time I've ever seen it. There's still cards in Gothic that I haven't even read yet. So yeah, first time reading that one. So it's 3 mana, 2 air threshold for a 3 power demon, I believe. And it says that it's a non-ordinary spellcaster, which doesn't really matter. And then the big part is that it like ignores damage from ordinary cards. So like ordinary magic can't deal damage to it. Ordinary minions can't deal damage to it. So you can just like freely eat all of the vanilla 3 power minions that you see so often in this format. So that card seems incredible. Yeah, there's this rare sight. Opponents lose life if they modify, move, or destroy one of your sites. Um, that doesn't really happen from what I've seen. I mean, yeah, what are they even doing? I guess like in constructed, maybe there's some things that matters, but I haven't seen hardly anything that matters in limited. Like I guess if they ward your site, they take damage or something like. Um, so yeah, there's a Den of Evil, which I think is a pretty busted card, and then Gift of the Wolf, which I've been extremely impressed by this card. Um, but Den of Evil is a nice second pick after getting a kind of bomb 3 mana minion that you can den out on turn 2. Is that what people say now? Instead of ponding something out, they den it out. That doesn't really roll off the tongue quite as nicely, but you know what I mean. And then Gift of the Wolf. This is 2 mana, 2 earth threshold. Give an allied minion +2 power, and then draw a card. Um, honestly, if I were to go back and do this draft again, I might actually just take the Gift of the Wolf. It looks like I was considering it. Um, it's an insane card. So like all of your minions, like it just allows one of your minions to eat one of your opponent's minions and you draw a card. So usually if it was just a pump spell and then you eat their minion, that's just a 1-for-1, but this is just a 2-for-1 like basically every time you play it. Like I've never not seen that card just completely devastate someone's board. Um Sorry, I didn't do too much editing in this, so there's gonna be some downtime in between things, and some of these people, it's like their first time drafting on TTS, so there'll be a bit of delays, but it looks like someone like disconnected from the table, so they had to rejoin. But yeah, pretty good start to a draft. I think I am still considering just taking this Gift of the Wolf. Like even even back then, I mean back then being like last week, the first draft I ever did. Um, I already felt like, wow, this card seems completely insane. And but yeah, I also am kind of interested in like, well, maybe I should just take the evil thing, take the thing that cares about evil things, and then kind of go from there. And if air ends up being open, then I can test out this really cool rare. 'Cause that's something that I want to do kind of early on in the format is just try out all the rares. But honestly, for the most part, I really just want to be trying out like what is the best version of every deck so that I can figure out what are the best 2 element pairings. So there's a ton of good cards in this pack. This pack is crazy good. Estranged Loner is really interesting. This is the first time I read this card was in this draft. This is 3 mana, 2 power, and when it dies, you summon a horrible hybrid from your collection to its location. Um, And there are some combos with this card. So I've actually already seen someone play Estranged Loner onto whatever it's like Saint's Weld or something. That site that's the opposite of Geistwood, where Deathrite is Genesis. So he just like played that on that site, made a horrible hybrid, and then like traded it off with my thing, make another horrible hybrid. That's so crazy. Um, okay, and then something I should talk about pretty early on. Something that if you watch my previous videos about spoilers and stuff, if you watch probably anyone's videos about spoilers coming out in Gothic, everyone assumed that the collection worked the same way, which is that you have to draft both sides of the card. Um, so if you draft the estranged loner that has Deathrite, summon a horrible hybrid from your collection, you would have to have a horrible hybrid in your collection to actually get that card to work. Otherwise, it would just be like a crappy 3 mana, 2 power minion, and you would never play it. So there would be this like interesting tension in the draft where you have to find a horrible hybrid and put it in your collection for that card to work, and then it's like an amazing 2 card combo. Like you drafted both cards, you're a genius, and you actually did the thing. And that's not how it works actually. So any card that specifically calls out get a horrible hybrid from your collection. You just take any horrible hybrid from outside of the game. It doesn't need to be in your collection, and you just get it. So all of the cards that call for a specific card from your collection, they just work in limited specifically. In constructed, it's a different story. You actually do have to have the card. Um, and at first I was like, "Oh man, that's kind of a shame." Like I kind of wanted that little bit of tension in the draft, whatever. But then like in practice, like I before this draft, I did one sealed, like I just opened 6 packs on TTS and built a sealed deck. And the thing that I found from there was like I opened a card like Estranged Loner or like one of the sites that it says Genesis cast a whatever from your collection, and it turns out like it feels really bad when you open one of those cards and then you just didn't also open the card that it gets, and then you just have like a dead card that should be a bomb, but it's just dead because of that. And like the set is really big, so that's going to happen all the time. Like every single sealed pool that you ever open is going to have a card that calls out a specific card in the collection, and then you would look through the rest of your sealed pool and just see that you just literally don't have that card. Yeah, that would just feel super bad. So I'm actually really glad they made that change. I think if it was a smaller set, they might have made it so that you just have to actually get the card. But yeah, that's where we are, and I kind of love it so far. All right, let's talk about the draft a little bit more. So I'm eyeing up this Smite. So if you can see, I went off the rails. So I got the Earl of the Ivory Tower or whatever. I got Den of Evil, thinking maybe I'll just stick in air, but then it kind of looked like air wasn't that open, and there were signs that other elements were open. So um, the third card that I picked was that like mutation. It's 4 mana, 4 power, and it can't be damaged or targeted by magic. Like that card seems insane. Like just a brown bear with like huge upside, like can't really be removed by magic. That's crazy. And then I grabbed the Harpian Urge. I don't know how to pronounce that card, but it's the 3 mana, your thing flies to a weaker minion and strikes it. That card seems crazy. Especially if you have 4 power minions. Like there's so many 3 power minions for you to kill. So 4 power is really where you want to be with that card, but in any deck it's just gonna be fine. Like there's also just gonna be a ton of 2 power minions for your 3 power minions to kill. Um, yeah, and then I saw the werewolf. The werewolf, I think, is just a solid card. Like sure, we're used to 4 mana, 3 power charge being really good, and obviously 5 mana, 3 power charge is a little bit worse than that. But it does have movement +1, which means like if this format ends up being really fast, then it's just gonna be important to have these minions that you can pretty much guarantee that you're gonna be able to get in some damage with them. So pretty big fan of that. I'm eyeing up Ignited. I think that is maybe the second best card in this pack. Drowned is also a consideration. I thought Drowned was going to be pretty bad, but I played with it a few times, and I think Drowned is totally serviceable. Like 2 mana, 3 power is great, and yeah, you're going to lose some tempo because it has to be summoned submerged. But um, spoiler alert, I think that this is a grindy, kind of slow format, and I think that Drowned and Entombed and like Air has a 2 mana 3 power minion that has to be summoned like in one of the columns, usually in the void. And then what does Earth have a? Yeah, Earth has the Entombed. Does Fire have 2 mana 3 power? I guess it does, but it's the one that deals 2 damage to you. I guess that card's kind of just fine too. Um, yeah, there's another Harpian Harpy Urge. I don't know. Harpian Urge. So yeah, I just took I think 4 fire cards in a row, or almost 4 in a row. I think I took a pig in there somewhere. So it's kind of looking like air is not the place to be. And um, yeah, the good thing about what I do in this draft, I take a busted air card and I'm just gonna force air, and then we'll see where else I end up. I just am reading the packs and I'm saying, okay, there's a busted water card in this pack. All right, there's some really decent fire cards, and now like there's only 6 cards in this pack, and there was a ghost fire in it. And ghost fire was a card that I wasn't sure about. It's 1 mana magic. I think it's ordinary, and it shoots a projectile. It deals 1 damage, and then you can cast it from your cemetery. So you can just spend 2 mana to deal 2 damage to something, and that's fine. Like that is 2 mana to trade for like a 2 power minion probably. Um, but also it's a 1 mana break a ward. It's also the death blow. Um, I actually just really think that Ghostfire is quite good. All right, and then I take another pig. Obviously, there's not anything too exciting in these packs. Honestly, like the townsfolk might just be better than the pig because it's 1 mana for 2 power. And yeah, you see, I'm just putting the Earl to the side because it's kind of looking like air is not very open. I mean, water, like, I guess my water and air are pretty even right now. Like, I have one kind of bomb air card, and then I have one kind of bomb water card, but then I also have 2 good air sites. All right, and then I edited a little bit so we can jump to the next pack right away. There's a 10-ton slug. I like that a lot. 7 mana for 7 power. It turns out that this format I don't think is too fast for that card, at least at the beginning. We'll see how it evolves. 6 mana unique magic. And I think it says like you heal your avatar to full life or something. So I guess that's interesting, but it's kind of 6 mana, don't affect the board, and I'm just not a big fan of that. So 3 mana 3 power minion's great. There's a 2 mana 3 power minion that you lose 2 life when you play it. Necropotence I think is actually really good, but I have no undead in my deck. I don't think a single one. So yeah, kind of interested what I take here. I think I might take the slug, just because it's kind of hard to find these really big minions, and I think early on in the format, people are going to stumble a little bit. They won't quite figure out what's good and what's not, so their power level is just going to be a little bit weaker. Late in the format, everyone knows what's good, and everyone's decks are just better because of it. Um, Whereas now, it's like people are just going to be testing out things that they're not sure about, and 10-ton slug is just gonna like you're probably gonna be able to make it until you get to 7 sites, and you can just play it. But we'll see how that evolves. Maybe by the end of the format, I think that 7 mana is just a little bit too much, and you don't really want too many of those. Obviously, you don't want more than like 2 10-ton slugs. It's kind of where I'm at right now. But all right, and then yeah, Detonate is an interesting card. I think it's only good in Necromancer pretty much, or like some other deck that can just spit out a bunch of tokens. Moss Troll seems great though. It's 3 mana 3 power stealth, and then if it moves, it loses stealth. So if you attack with it, like if you move and then attack, it loses stealth when it moves. So then when you actually declare the attack, it's not stealthed anymore. So they can block it, but um, I will say that I found some synergy with it. You can just like play that in your front row, in front of your avatar, and then with the plan of on my next turn I have these projectiles in hand. I can shoot them kind of through your stealth minion because they don't get hit by projectiles. So that's kind of an interesting thing you can do. And then you can attack with the Moss Troll or whatever it is. Feign Death, that's an interesting card. Yeah, Feign Death I have not tried out yet, but I think that card is actually really interesting. It's 3 mana, trigger the death rate of one of your minions, and then it gains stealth and you draw a card. So even if your minion doesn't have a death rate, I think it's still just great. Like it's 3 mana, draw a card, give your thing stealth. So the obvious comparison is with Fade. So Fade is a card I didn't like at all in beta, and it was like 2 mana, give your thing stealth, and then if it's on your opponent's site, then you also draw a card. Otherwise, it's just 2 mana, give your thing stealth. So it's just like Fade for 1 more mana, but also you can just trigger a Death Rate ability maybe, or you can just always give your thing stealth, always draw a card. Um, yeah, I think that card's just kind of good. And maybe you'll have like 1 or 2 things that have Death Rate abilities. But if you have like an Estranged Loner, I think that's like the best early combo that I've seen is just Estranged Loner plus Feign Death is kind of busted. Like 3 mana, make a 3 power minion, give your thing stealth, draw a card. It's incredible. And both of the cards are just good on their own. So yeah, early, really strong combo, I would say. So really looking forward to doing that. I guess it also works with Muddy Pigs. It's death right. You gain 3 life. Not as strong, but still 3 mana, gain 3, give your thing stealth, draw a card. Like, yeah, I think Feign Death is actually gonna be just a great card. I'm sad that I'm giving that away to everyone so early on, but that has been my experience at least. Yeah, this 3 mana, 3 power minion wield, so it kind of looks like water is just really open now, even though I really only had like 1 really good water card going into this pack. But I know like it's pretty likely that like 2 or 3 people to my right aren't playing water because I think I got that mutation card like maybe it was just 3rd pick, but still. Clearly water is pretty open at this point. Yeah, there's 2 onslaughts in this pack. It's Earth Fire, 3 mana. I think like give all your minions +1 power and charge, and then they can't be modified. So if they were like silenced or something, it kind of like wakes them up. Or if they were disabled, I think they just become not disabled anymore that turn. That's a pretty cool card. Yeah, Wild Fanatic, just 2 mana, 2 powers, fine. I guess there is a horrible hybrid in this pack, but I guess I'm like not really wanting to play the Muddy Pig. Um, but honestly, yeah. Knowing what I know now about the format, I think it's okay to not have too many 2 drops. Um, yeah, I just don't think that's like super fast. But yeah, very much solidified in Waterfire at this point. I'm really glad that I didn't just force myself into air. That's just not really something that I do anymore. Like that's just a trap for like earlier for people who don't have as much experience drafting. They might just see like, oh man, you first picked a bomb rare in air. You should just really stick to air and figure out what your second element is going to be. But I I think it's just a huge mistake to not just read the packs and try to figure out what what is your seat supposed to be. I talk about that all the time, but I think that's just such an important thing to think about. Um, every time you sit down and you do a draft, by the end of the draft, you should be able to tell me what is the element that was most what are the 2 elements that were most open for my seat. So what are the people around you not drafting that you can take advantage of that and draft just like the best version of water fire in this case, that you could have possibly drafted. Because like if I was just earth air right now, like let's just say after the Earl of the Ivory Tower, I just took like a really good Earth card, and then I was just like, okay, I'm Earth Air at this point. Um, like I think my deck would look horrible. Like I might have a hard time getting to playables. Am I considering not taking this horrible hybrid right now? I have to just take the horrible hybrid, right? I guess I am looking at my deck and I'm not that worried about playables at this point, so maybe I could take a site, but honestly, just 3 mana, 3 power is still just kind of the gold standard for limited. All right, and then what do we get here? Yeah, there's an Ice Shards. Ice Shards is really cool. It's a magic missiles, except it's 1 more mana. They don't go like infinitely. They only go like 2 steps or whatever. I think it has so it has yeah, it has the same range as an Ice Lance. You can just think of it that way. Um, which is still fine. Like the space you're on plus 2 steps in front of you is like plenty. But then the also kind of interesting thing that I didn't realize at first is that you can actually shoot the projectiles in different directions. Um, like magic missiles and fire bolts both say shoot 3 projectiles in one direction, each dealing 1 damage. Um, but Ice Charge does not say that. It just says shoot 3 projectiles, they each deal 1 damage. So you can actually split it up. So I'm kind of interested to pay attention to that and find opportunities where you can take advantage of that. And it's not just a worse magic missiles. It actually does have some utility. The fact that it costs 1 more mana doesn't just mean that it's worse. Yeah, at this point, I just have so many 3-power minions. We got 9 3-power minions, including the charge guys. It is also funny to see, like, what are the cards that people just clearly aren't ranking high enough, and for me to get 4 5-mana 3-power charge minions is pretty telling that people just see that and they're like, "Oh, this is just worse than the 4-mana 3-power charge things. It must not be very good." But they forget that 4-mana 3-power charge is just busted, and 5-mana 3-power charge is fair. It's good. It doesn't have to be busted for it to be a good card. All right, and then yeah, I kind of was talking through all of that, but I saw another bomb rare, Lord of Lies. I think it's a unique. It's 6 mana in water, and it says once per turn you can force 2 minions at actually 2 units at target location to fight each other. That's a really good card. Yeah, forcing things to fight, uh, super good. So you can just play it, and if your opponent has 2 things on top of each other, they can fight. At least one of them is going to die. Maybe both of them die. If you're really lucky, sure, that's fine. But you can also have it fight other things. You can choose it as one of the 2 units that fights. So I actually in the first sealed event that I did. So I did a sealed event at my LGS and I opened Lord of Lies and I played it. And then I'm playing it in this deck as well, obviously. So yeah, I've had just incredible success with that card. Like I think I got a 3 for 1 at minimum every time I've played it. Um yeah, it's just been crazy. But yeah, for instance, you can have Lord of Lies attack their avatar for 6 damage and then have it fight their avatar to deal 12 damage in 1 turn. You can also just play it on top of one of their minions on your site and have Lord of Lies fight their minion. I had a situation where my opponent had like a bunch of 3-power minions like kind of spread around in front of Lord of Lies, and then if I were to attack with Lord of Lies, they would just like double block because obviously they had to spread out all of their 3-power minions. Otherwise, I would just say like, okay, these 2 are on the same side. They fight. They both kill each other. So the thing that I did was just like I move Lord of Lies forward. Do you want to intercept him? And then it's like, oh, if I don't, then you just have him fight, and if I do, then they just fight. So it's just like so hard to play around this card. Um, yeah, it's it's crazy good. And I saw that the Lords are a cycle. I think Lord of Lies is the only one that I've actually read so far. I will be reading all the cards very soon because we are going to be doing a set review. Me and Nick are going to review every single card, and obviously I need to read every card to prepare for that series of videos. But so far, part of the reason I haven't made a bunch of videos so far about Gothic is just because, like, even though I'm a content creator about Limited, like, I do want to enjoy the experience of a new set as fully as possible. So I didn't just like go on Curiosa the day that they came out and just read every single card and spoil everything for myself. Like, at some point, I was just like, okay, this is the last spoiler I'm going to look at. I'm just going to wait for the set to come out, and then I'm just going to crack some packs and read some cards. And that was super fun experience. Holy Water is really interesting. It's a 2-mana relic. Um, you can tap a minion that's carrying it to sacrifice it and throw it. Basically, you throw it at something, and then if it hits it and it's evil, it banishes it. If it's not evil, then you put a ward on it. I've never seen anyone use it to put a ward on something, but technically you could do that. I'm sure it's a situation that might come up sometimes. But it is just 2 mana, banish evil, like in line of sight of any of your units. That seems really good to me. And I think it's not quite as good as I thought it would be. I think it's still pretty solid. I'm really curious about it. So if you have opinions or more experience about Holy Water, maybe drop it in the comments and let me know what you think about that card. I'm not really sure what I'm going to rate it in our set review, but you can tune into that to find out where I've landed on it at that point. I think it might be maybe 2 weeks after this video. I'm hoping to start doing the set review, but I can't make any promises. Me and Nick are both very busy. He just did the entire Siege at the Core, and it sounds like he's going to be recording some coverage probably from some of those games. So he didn't play at all at Siege at the Core. I think he was just doing coverage or just doing like event support kind of stuff the whole time. But yeah, absolutely, I ended up in the right elements, basically. So I think I navigated my first draft very well. Ended up in the right elements. I think it's pretty rare that I don't. Honestly, I've gotten very good at that. I think that's one of the things that makes me a good drafter. I think it's just reading the room and reading the packs, seeing what's open, staying open to getting past good things, and then getting past good things and taking advantage of that is a way to just end up with a good deck every single time. And yeah, water, like, oh my gosh, I have so many good water cards. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't even talk about Call of the Sea. Call of the Sea is really cool. It's 6 mana, triple water. You target a water site, and then every minion adjacent to it takes a step to that site, and then you submerge everything there. So super easy to get a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 with it. I think it gets around ward, right? Because you just target the site. Super cool card. And you can like pretty easily maneuver your things away from the water site that you want to target with it. I think fire wasn't as open as water was. I mean, my water cards just look insane. Like, look at my 3 mana column there. Like 3 mana, 3 power stealth, 3 mana, 3 power, pull something adjacent to it and tap it. That card's crazy. And then 3 mana, 3 power. I think it's like Submerged Voidwalk, and then 2 vanilla 3 mana, 3 power minions, which are good cards still. And then the other one is, what is it? It's something of Seth. 3 mana, 3 power, steal a nearby ward. That card's pretty sweet. A synergy that I think we'll see in this draft is that I have one Blessed Well in my deck. It's the water site that just enters with a ward. You can play that site and then later play your, what is it? What is it called? I don't know, something of Seth, and steal your own ward and put it on your minion. Like, obviously, wards on minions are way more important than having wards on your site. So being able to take advantage of that is just super cool. I'm just pulling some cards to the side, cards that I'm not totally sure on. I pulled out two 3-mana 3-power minions, but honestly, like, those cards are just great. I think I just maybe had a lot in that column, so maybe I would consider cutting those. Um, and then, yeah, here's just everything else. Yeah, I think Baptize is bad. Um, the Thin Ice site is interesting to me. Um, how many cards is this? That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think this is 22 cards, so I think I just put the 2 3-mana 3-power minions back in and call it a deck. Something like that. But yeah, this is pretty much the deck, so yeah, this is what we're gonna battle with. Oh yeah, this was really interesting. So I looked at all of my fire cards and I noticed every single one of them is single threshold. So I can actually try to take advantage of that, and I'm just gonna play a Den of Evil. So that's what I end up doing. So this is gonna be 6 water sites, 5 fire sites, and then a Den of Evil. And I think it was correct to do. I think I would do that again. Um, yeah, like I've got, looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that one's not 8, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I have like 13 evil minions or something that would, I could cast at a discounted rate with my Den of Evil. I think that's totally worth it. I'm usually not a fan of playing sites without any elements, but when you have a deck that literally has only single threshold in one element, and like most of my cards are in water, I have less cards in fire, and they all require only one threshold. I think that's a spot where you can go ahead and play just one site that's not in your elements, and it's a site that actually does just fix your threshold sometimes. Like sometimes it actually fixes your threshold better than a fire site would. All right, so I just had 3 water sites in my opening hand. I actually bottomed the Thin Ice site. That's the one where at the end of your turn, if there's minions with 5 or more power on the site, then like the ice breaks and you submerge all the minions there. I just wasn't like super sure about that card. Like I don't have very much force movement. Like the only force movement that I have says that it has to pull something in that's adjacent to it. So that would mean that I would have to play that guy on the thin ice and then it would die. So, but the other thing I noticed, or the thing I thought of later with this is actually like technically your opponent can make something happen with it. But it's incredibly hard for them to actually get value out of it because it only actually triggers at the end of your own turn. So like if they did force movement to move your thing onto the thin ice, like you could just move it off on your turn. So I think there's very little downside to just playing the thin ice. Like, yeah. So my opponent here is playing Persecutor. That is the 20 life, 1 power. Once per turn, it can take a step toward the closest evil, or it can brand something as evil so that your cards treat it as evil. Um, Interesting card. I think it's kind of on the fringe. I think it could be playable. It could be right to actually play it. Oh, sorry. Actually, is it 2 power? It's a 2 power avatar. Yeah. So it can beat down. Um, and then he plays a rat. He plays a frog, or sorry, a swamp. Swamp make a frog. Interesting to note, I believe the swamp, when you summon the frog, you can summon it submerged. Um, Probably gonna come up sometimes. But I think people are just so used to that being like a foot soldier or a skeleton that you have to summon it to the top of the site, obviously. That because this guy's submerged. Can just cast it submerged. Oh, and it looks like he does do that. He does summon it submerged. I think I reminded him, but it's submerged. He did. All right. I didn't have any 2-drops, but I can play a drop here. So, yeah, obviously, yeah, this is the synergy that I was talking about. So obviously, it was really tempting to use my Ghost Fire to just shoot a projectile and deal 1 damage to this rat. Like, that's a nice little, not quite a 2-for-1, but kind of a 2-for-1. Like, I'm using half of my card to deal with his card. But presumably, I'll be able to kill the rat next turn. So I just play the Moss Troll. It has stealth. The next turn, I can just untap, cast Ghostfire, kill the rat, and then attack, and then I'll have 3 more mana, so I can actually play my Heretic of Seth. That's what it is, Heretic of Seth. And yeah, I don't think there's any way that's not what I do here. So he played, I think it's Martyrs of Tomorrow, something like that. It's 3 mana, 2 power. When it dies, you can ward a nearby minion, I think. Okay. Oh man, and then I even drew the Blessed Village, which is really cool. So yeah, like I said, the Moss Troll is gonna move, it loses stealth, and then I attack. So he can choose to block. So he does do that. He blocks with his frog. Then I will play a Blessed Well, and then I will give it a ward. Then I'll play Heretics of Seth. I'll steal my own ward. Put it on my minion, which is where you want your wards to be. By the way, I do apologize. I did have my settings on my OBS set to less than 1080p. I was just having some issues with some of the recordings that I did. Basically, like making everything super laggy. So I turned the resolution down for a little while, but I just turned it back up on my computer. So um, videos coming up should be in 1080p, but I know that this one I think is less than 1080p. I think I turned like the frames per second down, and I think that kind of fixed the issue. But I was having some issues with my videos, but I had to want to make sure that I was able to record my first draft of Gothic, so I had those settings a little bit weird for this video. So sorry about that. So he's playing a mudslide, which won't do anything. This one that pushes everything in a column left or right. And yeah, I wasn't really high on that card. It just feels like it's gonna be kind of difficult to use. Like you can never use it on the middle column, and that's where a lot of the action happens. So obviously action happens in the 2 columns next to the middle column, but it just means a mudslide's just a little bit not as impressive as I think people would have expected. Oh yeah, and then he plays a Heretic of Seth, steals my ward. That's really good. Right. And then I have a Ghostfire in hand and a Ghostfire in the cemetery. And I don't really have a way to deal with the ward like with my minions. So I'm just gonna move my Heretic over use my Ghost Fire that's in the cemetery to shoot a projectile to take out that one ward, and then I'm just attacking the Mostral, or attacking with the Mostral. I don't know. He's considering blocking here, which I think is weird because then you're just trading your minion for a ward. Um, like just trading the Mostral for the heretics. Like that's just a 1-for-1. Whereas if you block, then you're down a card, but you're up a ward, which is not worth an entire card. So I don't think that was probably the right thing to do. But it does mean that his thing has a ward again. But unfortunately for him, I just have another Ghost Fire. So yeah, I mean, if I didn't have the Ghost Fire, then of course, yeah, he would just be able to, on his turn, he untaps, and then his Heretics of Seth just gets to kill my Mostral for free, and then he'd be up a card. I guess he would be like even on cards at that point. So yeah, I just don't think it was really worth the risk to block with the Martyrs of Tomorrow. But he can still just take a 1-for-1. He can still just trade Heretics of Seth for my Mostral. Obviously, it feels super bad because I gave him the option to do that earlier and he didn't do it. Another cool thing, though, of course, is that he is playing Persecutor. Yeah, here it is. So he plays a Abaddon Succubus. This card is nuts. Once on your turn, you may have an adjacent minion take a step toward the Succubus, and then when it arrives, you take 2 damage and you heal 2 life. Super good. Yeah. Point Nixie, but also deal 2 damage, and also it's a 3-power minion. It's just crazy. And then I think I'm kind of talking him through probably the better way to do it, which is have Persecutor attack for 2. So yeah, this is his plan, is to use the Succubus to deal 2, and then the Persecutor to deal 2. But I realized, like, yeah, the thing that you should do, and I just tell him, like, just have your Persecutor attack the Mostral. You take 2 damage, and then the Persecutor uses its special ability to take a step back to the Succubus if you want. And then the Succubus pulls in the Mostral. That way you're getting the 2 life back, basically. So basically, I just helped him out. Exactly the same situation as before, except now he has 2 more life. Yeah, and then that frees him up to just attack in for 3. I think this is the first time I've actually read Succubus too. This is just so fun to do your first draft and not know all the cards in the set. I mean, it's such a blast. And I've done one other draft since then. So this is the draft, the one that you're watching right now. This is the draft that we did the day after Gothic released. So this was Saturday, and then Wednesday we just did our second draft. Such a blast. Yeah, Gothic is an incredible limited format. I can already tell. Like, there's so many actual synergies now, and we just didn't really have too many synergies before. So, yeah, I'm just really hyped for Gothic. All right, and then I'm realizing that if I just play this dude here, then he can just move the Succubus up, pull the mutant. Yeah, what is it? Failed mutation, because it can't be damaged by magic, but a minion's special ability is not magic. So he could just move the Succubus up, pull the dude, and then he could attack it with the Persecutor, which obviously, like, he takes a bunch of damage, but then he's up another card, and that's just not great. So I have to play it a little bit careful, and then also my Heretics of Seth. I don't know. Maybe I should have just used the Heretics to trade with his Heretics, but I think I'm just setting up Call of the Sea. So I have Call of the Sea in hand. That's the one that pulls everything into a body of water, into a water site, and then drowns it. So I'm trying to line up like a 2-for-1 at least for later turn. Going for. think the succubus is likely to move up. Like once it's one step forward, it's even more annoying to play around. Where it is right now, at least I can kind of just attack this side over here. But yeah, that succubus is a huge pain. I'm not sure if I'm gonna draw a site next turn, but if I don't have a way to just get a 2-for-1 at least, then I don't think it's worth it to draw the site. Um, but he is moving the succubus up. But then the other thing to remember is, just because you can get a 2-for-1 with Call the Sea doesn't mean that that's necessarily the thing that you want to be doing. So, for instance, I do just have a way to kill the succubus and not have to use my bomb removal spell. Oh yeah, this is really cool. So yeah, he plays, I don't know, it's like mesmerizing demon or something. He pulls my Heretics of Seth forward, and then the and then what is it? The succubus pulls it in and it deals 2 damage to it, and then the persecutor gets in for 2 damage. Um, yeah, super cool. But then, yeah, I think he did kind of just mess this up though, because unfortunately now his mesmer demon whatever is just sitting there like right in front of my 4-power minion. So it did allow him to do this really cool thing, but also unfortunately it wasn't probably wasn't the best play because it does just mean I get to eat your thing. Um, yes, this is interesting. I think I do just draw a spell here because like I do just have answers. So if you can just delay, like if you can make meaningful progress with the hand that you have without having to draw a sight, you should just do that. It's really tempting in this situation. I think some people would just draw the sight, get a 2-for-1 with my big thing, but then really like you gave up a spell to draw that sight, so really it's kind of like a 2-for-2. Like obviously you're getting some value out of your sight that you drew, but also like you could just have an additional spell in hand. So yeah, I it is a little bit crazy. Like it's really unfortunate that like I had this failed mutation right in front of his 3-power minion, and like that's just the easiest thing to do. But the succubus is such a huge problem that I really did feel like I needed to deal with it. So I did use the mesmer demon to pull the succubus in and just make sure that I got it off the board. My other answer was the werewolf, and he could have just blocked the werewolf with his mesmer demon. And then here, I'm starting to think that the persecutor, like he's been moving up and actually attacking my minions with it. He might just be getting aggressive with it really soon. So maybe I should just save myself some life and do some blocking. Be responsible. And kind of the obvious play here for him is to play something on the algae bloom and then attack with the heretics of Seth onto my wasteland, like to the side of my spellslinger. Looks like he doesn't do that. That's really interesting. There must be something else he's doing. I was gonna say if he does go for that line, then I can now cast Call of the Sea on my turn and get a 2-for-1. Oh, really interesting actually that I did not tap my Spellslinger to draw a card this turn. Hmm. Guess he had Yeah, I would have to go back to figure out why I did that, but I think he just had like a 3 power. I don't know. I would have to look back, but I think he could have used like his persecutor plus a minion to kill my failed mutation, and sometimes it's a really good idea to just um leave your spell slinger there to block for your best minion. I do that very often now. That's a trick that I learned from Nick. So here I thought I was clever. So he played that nymph that says like when a minion enters nearby, tap it. I thought I was clever. I played a 3 power minion with movement +1, so then you can play it outside of that nymph's uh, effect, and then actually move in and attack the nymph. But then my opponent just forgot to put a stealth token on his thing, and of course I don't know the cards by heart any like at this point, so I just didn't. I definitely read that I had stealth, but I just didn't register that I had stealth because it didn't have a stealth token on it. Um, so I just attacked his site for 3 instead, which is perfectly okay. But yeah, I think this nymph is like pretty awkward. He plays a 4 mana 4 power minion on top of my dude, but then it gets tapped when it enters because of the nymph. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this nymph. What rarity is that? Is it exceptional maybe? I don't know. It just seems okay. I'm not sure if I had this in hand already. I think I just drew it this turn, but the Harpian Urge that's in my hand, that could be a reason that I was being extra protective of my 4 power minion, because having a 4 power minion and having Harpian Urge and having a 3 power minion is a pretty huge difference. Okay. Well, what's going on here? He's just trying to figure out. He should be attacking with only 4 sites in play, and that is what he does, unless he's changing his mind. Oh, I think that is what he. Oh yeah, I think I was like explaining how like you figure out what's closest. So he's considering using his ability to take a step, and I was like, well, yeah, if you move forward and then you use the ability, now you can move to the side or up and down. Because now there's 2 monsters that are both equally close. So you get to choose whichever direction you want to go, but he ends up just attacking for 2 and then deciding not to take a step. And then I play Den of Evil. And then, yeah, this is a really nice setup for Call of the Sea finally. So I'm just going to move my dude over. I'm going to use my werewolf to attack for 3 somewhere. Figure out what is the best place to attack with this. I can attack any of those 3 sites and be safe from my Call of the Sea. But where do I want to end up? And I think I end up moving it onto the algae, because then it just has the ability to attack any of his 4 sites from that location. So that should make sense. Yep. So I'm casting Call of the Sea. Both of these minions take a step into this water site, and then they submerge all minions there. So yeah, clean 2 for 1, and I just have 7 power on board. So yeah, I've got 2 good minions on board and 3 good spells in hand, and then he just has 3 spells in hand. I also have 2 more sites in play than him. I also have Ghostfire in this cemetery. So this game is like not even close at this point. The only way that I lose is if he just aggroes me out, and the card advantage doesn't really matter anymore. And yeah, the minions with movement +1 are so good. Um, yeah, the Snallygaster, whatever. Um, 3 mana, 3 power spirit with movement +1. Like, that card's just incredible. And the dude with charge, like, the movement +1 is a huge upside. Like, he's not just worse than the 4 mana, 3 power charge minions. Movement +1 just means that no matter where he plays his blocking minion, it can still just get in for damage. Like, it just doesn't even matter. Wherever he played that Weathered Trunks, obviously he has to play to that site because of its ability, but yeah. Movement +1, very good. Okay, and I just decided to trade. Oh yeah, that's because of what I was just talking about. Like, the only way that I lose is if he just gets in for a ton of damage and he outraces me. So yeah, this makes sense. I just use my second half of my Ghost Fire and then just play a bunch of dudes. Yep, that seems good. I've got 9 power on board. I'm still a little bit afraid of this Persecutor just attacking me for 2 every turn. But now I just put a 3 power minion on top of his face, so that kind of puts an end to him attacking. Unless he has a trick. Which, if he has a trick, that means he's not playing a minion. But yeah, and I just don't think that there's any way that he comes back from this. But we'll see how it plays out. I'll speed up the rest of this. All right. Yep, he's deciding I cannot attack, so he plays Scatter, I think. Yeah. Push everything at target location 1 step 1 at a time. So I think you can choose different directions for the things. So, like, the thing you could do is, like, push his Persecutor back onto his Croaking Swamp and then push my 3 mana, 3 power dude, like, onto my Blessed Well or something, or onto my Wasteland. I don't know. Yeah, Scatter seems really bad. I don't understand why it's 3 mana, 2 different thresholds, and it's just like a worse version of um what is that card from Arthurian Legends? Um, Whatever. The card that says like everything on this site takes a step to this other site. Like, it's slightly different than that, but also like that card isn't even close to being good. So Scatter is just still just a bad card. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I think I do mention to him like, yeah, you can actually just push my things in a different direction than your Persecutor if you want to, and what he does. Um, but yeah, still in a commanding position. Get in for 6, 7, 8, 9. So I think that is Death's Door. And then I've got this Harpian Urge, which I have found that Harpian Urge is like very good at dealing the death blow, actually. Like, it can't target their avatar. You can actually use it on your avatar though. I had that come up almost in a game where I had my spell slinger, and I was thinking about using it to fly to my opponent's frog and strike it, just as a way to like move your avatar in line of sight of their stuff, basically. But yeah, at this point, if he just plays any minion anywhere, basically, I can just fly my thing to it and be at the end of the game. But yeah, I think this is pretty much the end of this one. Yep, he's showing me his cards and scooping it up. So I am 1-0 so far. Waterfire seems pretty good to me in this first draft that I did. So there is this Den of Evil. I'm not sure if I keep it or not. I might actually keep it, which I think is a little bit crazy. Yeah, I guess I do. And then I mulligan the uh, Fanatic, whatever it is, 2 mana, 2 power charge because I'm on the draw or I'm on the play, and unfortunately, 2 mana, 2 power charge is just a vanilla 2 power minion when you're on the play. Like I don't think that 2 power charge is something that you should just hold in hand until you can kill like a 1 power minion with it or whatever. Like I don't know, that's not that impressive. So if you're on the draw though, I think 2 mana, 2 power charge is quite good. And then I have this cool thing with my Moss Troll again. Let's see. Yeah, Ignited is a card that I'm a little bit interested in. Like, I think it is good. I don't think it's great, but it is basically a 2 mana deal 3, which 2 mana deal 3 is pretty fantastic. Like that's like a lightning bolt, basically. Um, but your opponent can block. So that's a pretty huge downside. Like if they just have skeleton token wherever you want to attack, or they just have a frog token adjacent, or anything that's more expendable than what you're trying to kill, it's just kind of terrible for you. So it looks like I attacked with the troll. He decides not to block. I deal 3 damage to that 4 mana, 4 power dude, and then finish it off with a ghost fire, which I'm really happy to do because it's having 2 ghost fires in hand is just a lot of ghost fire. You kind of want to just get your utility out of it. Yeah, and here I just have a 3 mana, 3 power dude with ward in front of his 3 power dude without a ward. So I just do the attack and kill his thing. That's very good. And he flips Saint Swelled. This is the card I was talking about, the unique site that Deathrite abilities are Genesis abilities here. So that's pretty cool. So, for instance, the Clay Golem that he just played, if he had another one, he could play it on that site and it would immediately trigger and flip a new site. And then whenever that thing dies, it would also trigger again, flipping a new site. And that is exactly what he does. So, yeah, plays Clay Golem. So now he's just way ahead on mana. He's going to have 7 mana in play. He's got Sphinx Sarcophagus. This is a very greedy Atlas, I think. Having 2 colorless sites in limited is just a little bit sketchy. I mean, maybe if he has a bunch of colorless spells, then maybe it makes sense. But Sarcophagus, I was actually eyeing that as well during the draft. I think there was 2 of them in our draft pool. I think I did actually end up with one of them. Um, oh wow, he actually casts a Bane Death right now. That's hilarious. So yeah, he flips another one and gives his thing stealth, draw a card. That is so powerful. I love that this is happening in limited already. Like that is such incredible synergy. Like everything he just did in his turn is synergy. Like he gets a site that pays him off for Deathrite abilities, and then he plays a Deathrite thing on top of it, and then he plays a card that triggers Deathrite abilities. Um, so yeah, super sweet. Absolutely love this dude's deck. Yeah, and here I was kind of trying to bait out a block from the Clay Golem. I decided like I actually don't care that much about him having 9 mana instead of 8 mana, so I attack in a way that allows him to like be excited to block, which is like I'm gonna block on my Algae Bloom. That way I get a third death rate. Um, Like I get another trigger out of the clay golem, and that flips a site. But that site, unfortunately, is a site that I can just attack now. Um, so yeah, I have my minions nice and spread out. He's at 5 life. Um, you know, you can have all the sites in play that you want, but if I just have 9 power on board and you have 0 power on board, um, you got to do something about that. But it is scary to face down an opponent with 6 spells in hand and 9 mana in play. So he's got some moves. Yeah, cast Overflow. Not the card that I was expecting to see here. That's insane. I think Overflow is very bad, but apparently my opponent really likes ramping. Um, yeah, so he plays Hellhounds and a Strange Loner, and you saw for a second he plays a Strange Loner on top of a 3 power dude and on top of whatever that is. It's a Warden of whatever. Um, and then I tell him like, why don't you just play this on the Saints Weld and get a free Horrible Hybrid? And he was like, oh, yep, that's a better play. I'm gonna do that. So what we do. Yeah, I did try to point out some good plays to my opponents as we were doing this first draft because like obviously we're all new to this format. We don't know every single card, and you just got to help people out. Like I'm if I help my opponent and then I end up losing, like more power to him, like maybe that means that my opponent comes back for another draft, whereas otherwise who'd have just felt bad about making a misplay or something. Oh my gosh, that's like one of the worst feelings in the world to misplay and then lose like a really close game that you like know for a fact that you could have won is just like that's the kind of thing that just like haunts my nightmares. Yeah, he did a really good job stabilizing here. I mean, that's probably the best card that you can play. I mean, one of the best cards you can play, definitely at exceptional or lower. Like 3 mana, 2 power dude that makes a 3 power dude. And then if I just attack and kill it, he makes another 3 power dude. Like, holy crap, Estranged Loner is super good. And he must have just not had the Estranged Loner in hand. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have saved his. What is that card? Bane Death, I think. Um, oh yeah, so here I use the Harpian Urge to fly to his frog token to kill it with my werewolf, and then that allows me to get in for 3 damage. And then I just burned 2 more ghost fires to put him at death's door, and then I have 1 ghost fire in hand, so he has to escape. Right now I've got 1 attacker, and he has a blocker for the projectile. I don't have a clear way to get lethal here. What's he doing here? Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is the first time I've seen this card. I'm Colossus, 10 mana, 10 power, unique automaton, and then you can banish minions under your control from your hand or cemetery. Is that what that said? And you can cast it for 1 less for each. So he just banished, I think, 7 minions from his cemetery to cast it for 3 mana. 3 mana, 10 power minion. Wow. That is as busted as it gets, I think. So yeah, that I can't believe that card exists. That's crazy. Like obviously you can't play it on turn 3, but at some point, like mana efficiency of that scale is so insane. People get excited for 3 mana for 4 power. Lugbog cats. How about 3 mana for 10 power? So here I just don't have lethal this turn. Which like it feels like I'm really close to having lethal. Like I got werewolf, which could, try to attack the frog. I guess like I could have gone for that, but there's not really a reason for me to go for that because if he just blocks the Colossus, then it just didn't work. And then his Colossus is right next to my site, and he could just attack me for 10. So like he's pretty incentivized to just block. And then even if I did kill the frog, actually, I wouldn't be able to shoot Ghostfire and kill and like deal the death blow because my werewolf would then be in the way. So yeah, he just puts me in a really awkward position, and then I think he just like empties his hand basically. He just has a 10 power dude. He's got his avatar way in the corner. But of course, I'm sitting really comfortable at 20 life here. So this is the situation I was talking about earlier. I spoiled it a little bit, but not really. So yeah, here I have Harpy and Urge, which you can use on your avatar to fly over to his frog and strike the frog, but more importantly, just move your avatar over there. But unfortunately, he has like the Lesser Blood Demon there, so but I do go for it. So if he didn't block with the Horrible Hybrid, then I would have lethal this turn. I could fly over to the frog. My werewolf would have traded for his Lesser Blood Demon, and then I could shoot him for 1 with the Ghost Fire. But unfortunately, he does good. And yeah, here I'm attacking with the werewolf against his Lesser Blood Demon. And then I am moving over. I used my werewolf from hand to kill the Lesser Blood Demon, so I did not have the ability to cast Harpy and Urge as well as Ghostfire after doing that. Yeah, this game is really sweet. Yeah, luckily the Colossus was incentivized to stay where it was on his last turn. Curious to see what he does this turn. Does just leave it there again. Yeah, and then once again, I'm trying to clear that minion that's over there in order to be able to move over and cast Ghostfire. But of course, he just knows that I have Ghostfire, so he can't just let the Horrible Hybrid trade. I would just win this turn. Yeah, that was the only way for me to get lethal, I think, this turn. So he has 10 mana in play. He has 2 sites in hand, so he actually drew his entire atlas. Yeah, this slug still can't attack. Oh, wow. Okay, he uses Monster Morphosis on my werewolf. Just to disable it and kill it with the Horrible Hybrid. And then, yeah, here I confuse myself. I thought, I was doing this plan with killing his frog with my spell slinger, and then having that be the thing that allows me to move over and kill his avatar, but I tried to do it against his 1 power minion, and that just doesn't work. So luckily we catch it, and also I catch that I accidentally put my Ghostfire into hand instead of in the cemetery. So I didn't just cast that, I just put it back in the cemetery. Yeah, and then I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, yeah, is there a way for me to get lethal? Right now I cast Hyperion. There needs to be a better word for that card, the Harpy card. To move my hybrid to kill the sewer rat, and then I realized like, no, this doesn't really do it. So yeah, just in a bit of an awkward spot. I don't think I missed lethal here, but I can't see. any way that I could have gotten lethal, but we'll see. And then, yeah, I'm also trying to figure out, like, if yeah, I'm, like, so close to lethal, because I could use Mesmer Demon. Could use Mesmer Demon to pull the one-shot wizard forward, and then cast Hyperion Harpy Urge to kill the sewer rat, and then I can trade horrible hybrids. But then I don't have the 1 mana left over to cast the Ghostfire, so I do go for that plan, and now I'm just at a point where I'm like, okay, I don't have any more spells in hand, but I'm still at 20 life. Like, I just need to get my avatar on top of your avatar. Or, like, you always need to have the Colossus there, and then you have to play another minion on the Saint Weld, and yeah, that just like limits his options kind of a lot. And then he goes for a weird play, which is just attack for 18 and then play a minion. At the end of your turn, you may transfer a nearby ward, I don't know, to a nearby minion or site. When it comes with a ward, so it can transfer its own ward to something. That's cool. But yeah, I think he like literally just messed up and didn't realize that I had the Ghostfire still. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but yeah. And then I also just top decked Lord of Fear or whatever. I don't know. Lord of Lies. Yeah, that was game 2. I am 2-0 at this point, and we are on to round 3 now. So like I'm thinking about mulliganing a Holy Water and a Horrible Hybrid. A lot of sense to me. Keeping a Lord of Lies in hand. That card is pretty busted. Like if it just comes down when you get to 6 mana, probably by that stage of the game, you're gonna be able to get a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 as soon as it enters. Nasty. And then we got a Slug, which isn't ideal having the starting hand. It's just pretty slow. We're on the play again. Turning off the stream, just trying to get max value out of the desert. Otherwise, I would prefer to have all my websites in front. Since I have Call of the Sea, main reason. And also, it looks like my opponent's playing Earth. And that means he might have the Buried Alive. It's the new berry, so I prefer my things to be on water sites, but of course, times like. Right, and then Silent Hills play in Entombed under it. Silent Hills, of course, does not turn off. It doesn't silence minions that are below ground, so he can still submerge. Or he can still burrow the Entombed safely. And then, yeah, I mean, turn 2 ground, turn 3 play a 3-power dude. Feels pretty good right now. Like oh, right, because of the Silent Hills, my Moss Troll wouldn't have had stealth. So I tried playing it, and then I realized, oh shoot, my thing doesn't actually have stealth. So I kind of gave up some information. I decided it was worth it to switch and just put the Hellhounds in play on turn 3 instead. The fact that I have a Moss Troll in hand isn't really that valuable for my opponent to have anyway, so it's just good to do the rewind, go back, make the right play. Because the silencing effect of the site would turn off the stealth. Yeah, we just have a bunch of 3-power dudes. Get that. And he's on the draw, so he's gonna just leave his Entombed under the site. I think that's pretty reasonable. He's playing a site in the back row, so it's hard for me to get to him without having to deal with this entombed at some point. Attack in for 3 with the round. And he actually takes it, which makes me think that he might have a trick. And then attack again. He ends up blocking that one, which is a little bit weird. Like, I think like Drowned just has Submerge, so it's just slightly better than the Hellhounds, but I don't know, maybe there's some reason that he didn't want the Hellhounds. I have no probably doesn't matter. But yeah, so far it's been three power thing, 3 power thing, 3 power thing, 3 power thing, 3 power thing. That has been all of our turns so far. Um, yeah, that is something that I've found so far in this format is just there is a ton of 3 power dudes, and then there's the sites that make 3 mana 3 power dudes. It's just like the whole field just is a mess of 3 power dudes, and that's pretty much the format so far. Oh, okay. That this is why he wanted the drown to just be in play because he had a gravedigger, which is very good. 2 mana 2 power burrow target adjacent undead minion. So he just gets to kill my drown for free. That is kind of a blowout. Yeah, not really a clear way for me to get a bunch of value out of my cards here. I can just play Mesmer Demon as a generic 3 mana 3 power dude, which is apparently what this format is all about. Yeah, the Ghostfire can't really do much. Oh, I guess I can actually. I can play Desert and then Ghostfire twice to kill the Entombed. I'm kind of like my Ghostfire is just trading basically a 2 mana spell for a 2 mana spell. Now it means that I have the 3 power thing in play. He has a 2 power thing in play. His turn gives me some momentum, I guess, to get into the rest of the game here. I'm ahead on life. I think he is ahead on cards. He's ahead on cards by like 2 cards, kind of. 2 very strong, very expensive cards. Too bad about that. Looks like I just attacked the site for another 3, so he's at 11. Yeah, I don't know why he played his monks all the way in the back. Maybe we're about to find out, but I don't see a clear reason why he would have done that. Because yeah, that monk is just in a really awkward position now. It's like way in the back, not really doing anything, and now he has to just spend a turn moving it up. So I think that was just straight up a misplay. I don't know. Unless there's something really specific that he was playing around, but yeah, kind of tough. All right, and then yeah, I think he drew a site, played a site to play the monks on turn 4, and then he drew a site, played a site on turn 5 to play zombie horde on turn 5. Sorry, monks on turn 4, zombies on turn 5, and then yeah, the zombie horde can't move to defend, so I do just get to move and kill the gravedigger for free, and then I drew a ghostfire, so I get to at least trade up. So my 4 power thing plus ghostfire trades for his 5 power minion. Good. Mesmer Demon, not playing it by his monk because obviously he would just die to the monk afterward. And then if he does attack with the monk, then next turn I have the option of my 3 power dude attacks your 4 power dude, and then Ghostfire Slice, or not Ghostfire Slice, Ghostfire to deal the extra damage, which is a little bit painful if I do end up doing that. But the thing I might be willing to do. It's just painful to move instead of playing another site so I can play my Lord of Lies. But if I'm not playing the Lord of Lies anyway, then maybe it's just worth doing that. Okay. I guess I'm kind of questioning it now. Did he actually draw 2 sites in a row, or did? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess I am getting up to 6 mana right before he gets up to 6 mana. So maybe he didn't actually draw 2 sites, which would make sense. He is kind of ahead still on. Yeah, so I just get to attack for 3. If he blocks, then I get to Ghostfire. Yeah, I guess that is a pretty nice way to mitigate the feel bad of the Ghostfire. Just that. So yeah, this is sick. So I play Lord of Lies in range of his avatar. So I had my minion fight your avatar, deal 3, and then I just have my 3-power guy attack his 3-power guy. So Lord of Lies basically has, in this game, it was Genesis, deal 3 damage to your avatar. Good. Pretty good start. And it's also there ready to block his monks if he tries to kill my Mesmer Demon. Fertilize is so nasty. Oh yeah, that's a really good answer. Find evil, my Lord of Lies. And I'm 3 steps away from being able to unlock it, so pretty much a lost cause at this point. Can untap and draw sight and play the slug, but like I said in the previous game, like if you just have something else to do, you should just draw spells. Unless it's like literally the 10-ton slug is going to get like a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1, then it's going to be worth it. But it's just a big dude. I can just wait a turn. Like once I get the 7th sight in play, then it's like what is my spell slinger doing the rest of the game? Whereas now it's adding utility. It's basically allowing me to draw more spells because it can tap to draw sights. Man, sorcery is so sweet. Like I'll just never get over how great this game is. Like the fact that you have an avatar and it taps to accrue card advantage, but then also there's other avatars that have less card advantage but have other abilities that can also do card advantage things without literally just drawing cards. Um, Man, this game is just it's just the best game out there, right? All right, so Smite, his spell slinger banishes my monster. Makes sense. And then he just gets in for 7 damage. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it to just attack the Lord of Lies. As dangerous as it is, like I mean water, fire, like there's no like blink effects that I can think of that would get a spellcaster over there. He basically removed my Lord of Lies for 1 mana. I've not gotten the opportunity to play with Bind Evil yet, but looks really good in this game. Right, and then I drew my way of getting the death blow eventually. Shards. Oh yeah, he tries to bury my slug, but is on a water site. Now that I know that, he Yeah, I don't know. He just moves, doesn't attack. Because if he does move and attack, yes, I can block, and then he has Buried Alive, but unfortunately, Buried Alive has to be adjacent to one of your minions, so unless he could play a minion and cast Buried Alive, um, I would just kill his thing, and then he won't have an actual way to bury my slug. So yeah, Buried Alive, much worse than Bury, but still a fantastic card. I wouldn't even say it's much worse than Bury, but there are situations that it is not the card that Bury is. So he is presenting a lot of damage here. I do need to get him on Death's Door in some reasonable amount of time. I got a Heretics of Seth, so I can pick up my ward with it. Um, yeah. He can't actually double block here because the zombie horde can't move to defend. And then I get to move my Singer up, so either to deal the death blow with ice shards or to eventually move over and unlock my Lord, which would also probably lead to the death blow. Literally any unit on top of your avatar is now lethal. But yeah, he chump blocked, so still not putting him on death's door. And he's gonna be able to attack for a bunch here, but I guess he doesn't choose to attack. I'm a little surprised by that. I think he should have just attacked for 9. He's not on death's door yet. And like this turn he knows that he's going to death's door, so probably should just be racing as best as you can. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like that was a mistake. Could be at 4 right now, and him at death's door. Then he would just have to make sure that his monk survived for like one more turn. He can get one more attack in with the monk to put me on death's door. But he's playing a little bit too defensive, I think, which I think honestly, like given what I actually did on my turn, was maybe the right call. But if I was in his situation, I definitely would have tried to just like deal the damage and figure out how to survive the following turn with whatever cards you have in hand. But yeah, he's on death's door. I have a Ghostfire in my cemetery. I have Ice Shards in my hand. And I think that's just GG at this point. I don't know. Like, yeah, he has to play like 2 minions. And they would have to be like 2 4-power minions or something. Like, just dead. He might have just forgotten about the Ghostfire again. My opponent last round also forgot about the Ghostfire, and then it was just lethal. So, yeah. And I even do everyone a favor. I'm always just gonna put the Ghostfire like on the table. Like it is a spell that's basically in my hand, but it's in my cemetery. I put it there mostly for myself, but also like yeah, both players should be very aware of the cards in cemetery that can just be cast again. And if I had like a barrel white, I'm gonna do that with that card too. Like I'm just kind of notoriously bad at remembering the cards in my cemetery and like what I can actually do with them. So I untap and then I show him I have 3 ways of getting lethal ice shards, ghostfire, and I have a charge minion that can hit you. So yep, that was the end of that round. Now I will just look at the deck for a minute. All right, so this is the deck again. This is what I ended up playing. These are the technically playable cards that I did not put in my deck. I have seen people playing Torch and Pitchfork. I have played it in a deck with a bunch of skeletons, and I thought it was just okay. And I had multiple times where my opponent was able to steal my Torch and Pitchfork, or my opponent played it and I was able to steal it, and it feels very Sword and Shield y. The thing that I was hoping it would feel like is the Pendragon banner that pumps all of your nearby minions. That card's just busted, but I think this is kind of bad, honestly. But It can be really busted in some situations. I still think if you're playing Necromancer, then potentially you should just play this card. The whole Necromancer and Savior at exceptional conversation, I'm sure will be had later, but I'm not going to have that conversation right now. But yeah, Wiccan Tools, I've seen people play this. I think it's okay. If you need a 24th card, like, yeah, I guess you can play Wiccan Tool. It just replaces itself. Um, yeah, the Muddy Pigs, I don't regret not playing them. I think Bewitch is just kind of whatever. I guess it's good against like Bind Evil, but that's it. Baptize. Yeah, I just don't really believe that 3 mana to get 1 or 2 wards is a good deal. That's not really worth a card. And like, holy crap, why is this 3 mana? It should be like 1 or 2 mana, right? And then obviously 1 mana 2 power dude is just not really that exciting. Yeah, so Holy Water, I don't think I ended up casting this at all in this, but I did play it in my sealed games, and I was able to. There was one game I was able to like my opponent sacked 2 minions to play a really early. Um, what is that card? The Wendigo, 6 mana 5 power. You can sack things to make it cheaper. And I was able to banish it with Holy Water really early in the game. That was really cool, but yeah, still unsure about this. I think it's just okay. Like it's maybe like a C or C plus, but we'll see where I land on it. Um, yeah, Flaming Skull. I think I drew it once. Didn't really matter. Yeah, 2 mana 2 power charge is good, but it's not like busted like other larger charge minions are. So there's just not that many like 1 power things that you can just eat with this. So really, it's just like a 2 mana 2 power vanilla dude that sometimes it's just gonna be able to get in for 2 damage for free, which can be good. Looks like I have some cards hiding under here, but obviously, yeah, everything that says ward on it, basically, I love. Like all of the ward stuff has been really impressive. Yeah, the werewolves I think were great. They got in for a ton of damage, pretty hard to block. Sometimes they are just removal spells. Sometimes they can even be the death blow. Yeah, really sweet. Lord of Lies, incredible card. Yeah, once on your turn, you may have 2 target units at a nearby location fight. Yeah, this is just such a tricky card. Like they can just never play 2 things on top of each other. No one's playing around this card because it's elite, so you're just going to be able to play it and have 2 things fight each other, and that's just going to be a huge blowout. Like, yeah, if you have 2 of their minions fight each other and they both die, you just got a 3-for-1. You got 6 mana for a 6 power dude, which is an incredible deal, and then you also just killed 2 minions when it enters. Like, that's ridiculous. Yeah, I think Slug is good. Like I said, I think this format is a bit slower, so I think that Slug is a totally fine card. There's not many things that can just kill it straight up. Like I can only think of like a couple lethal minions. There's the rat and the corpse that can kill it pretty easily, but even that is just a 1-for-1, and sometimes it just completely dominates the board. Um, yeah, Field Mutation is busted. Yeah, these 3 power dudes are just great. Like I just had a ton of 3 mana 3 power dudes, and I don't know, even the vanilla ones are good. And yeah, I don't know what else to say really. I mean, yeah, these harpy things are really good. I wish I had more 4 power minions, but even just having 1 4 power minion and having the harpy ability to fly and kill something feels really good. Call the Sea. I cast this once and it was a blowout. So yeah, I like this card a lot. I mean, 6 mana I feel like is the right amount to be able to get a 2-for-1 and feel really good about it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep taking this card early if I see it. And yeah, I navigated this draft really well. Ended up in the elements I was supposed to be in. Pretty sure. I mean, fire wasn't as open as water, but like water was wide open. So I'm really happy I ended up in there, and I got past 2 really good rares in pack 3. Um, yeah, not too much else to say. Ghostfire, I was really impressed by. So I think you should play Ghostfire and try it out. It looks really good to me. I don't think I realized that ice shards can go in multiple directions during this draft, so I'm really curious if that comes up later on. I'm sure it will. Like if you can shoot 2 projectiles in 2 different directions and break 2 wards or something, that'd be pretty sweet. Okay, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. We draft every Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So join the Discord in the link below. I'll probably comment and pin it below. so it's easy to find. And I hope to see you guys in a draft very soon. Otherwise, just stay tuned for my other videos and learn about Limited. And I will be exploring Gothic to the full extent that I can in the next year. So it's gonna be a long time. We're just gonna be drafting a bunch of Gothic. We're gonna be drafting my cube once I do some updates. I just want to get like a few drafts in before I really started digging into my cube and making some cuts and replacing some stuff. So really excited to do that. I'm actually doing my third draft already of Gothic this weekend, and then I'll be doing my fourth Gothic draft next Wednesday. So yeah, doing a lot of Gothic drafts to keep you guys informed and let you know what's good and what's not. And also, I just love drafting, so I am gonna be doing that. All right, catch you guys later.